Okay, so we actually have audio now after a short little technical difficulties. And
we can keep our PhDs, having managed to get basic computer technology to work.
Yeah, we can keep our PhDs because I quit the browser and restarted it. So.
Shit, that should get you a PhD in computer science.
Oh, that's
That's a cheap. That's a cheap shot.
That was cheap. That's right. I mean, it's funny. I mean,
that only gets you a BA in computer science.
What? I mean, when was the first PhD in computer science?
I don't actually know. There was one of these. There was a graph somebody had of number of degrees awarded to women in various disciplines, and comp sci craters twice. And one of those is there's a huge drop, like at the start of the dot-com boom. But there's an earlier drop in the early 80s. And my first guess was that was just statistical noise because, in 1978, how many computer science departments can there possibly have been?
There weren't very many, right?
But the number of degrees awarded in the late 70s in CS was actually fairly substantial. I was surprised.
Huh, that's interesting because I
thought that several thousand, tens of thousands.
Computer science programs were in the math department. So if you wanted to do computer science, it was usually like in math or something.
Like our computer science department is in engineering for just historical reasons. Like that's where it started. And at Williams, it had been an offshoot of the math department. It was like, but.
Well, I can see one reason for the dip, like in the 90s maybe, they came out with that information technology degree. And so I would suspect that people that would normally go into computer science might go into information technology, and that could cause a dip. But I don't know. I don't think they had that as early as in the 80s.
This wasn't raw number of degrees. This was percentage of degrees awarded to women. So it's a slightly different thing. So I think that the raw number increased over most of that time.
Okay.
So I think the numbers have done some slightly weird things because they've done some slightly weird things because, like, during one of the dot-com booms, people wouldn't actually get a degree because they would just take classes long enough to demonstrate some competence, and then they would go, somebody would give them a wheelbarrow full of money to design a web page. And,
I want a wheelbarrow full of money.
Yeah.
So if you have a dip in the women getting computer science degrees, it could be because of a large influx of men or fewer women.
Yeah, and it's
or both.
It's a little ambiguous, probably both. In the case of the 90s, probably both, because a lot of assholes went into computer things then. Another
attack on the computer science people.
Again, it's not so much computer science as like the tech industry,
which are two, in my mind, completely different things. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, computer science," when they really mean programming, and computer science is not programming.
Well, it used to be, and that's the thing that happened, like in the 90s. That's where the numbers get weird, because people used to get degrees to demonstrate an ability to program.
Right.
And then there was a period where you didn't even have to get the degree. You just had to, if you could make a web page, then suddenly they would give you lots of money, and that was enough.
But computer science, the real computer science, has never been about programming. It's been about ideas, right? If you want to call it computer science instead of computer engineering or software engineering or something like that, then you're not just learning how to program. That's like saying, I'm going to be experimental high energy physics and learn how to be a plumber.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's always much more the O notation. Right? What is the order of the the logarithm of the number of steps or whatever it was. So
So you had a post this week about using lasers to detect planets.
Yeah, yeah, that was an extremely badly written press release.
But I think that it shows, they have these people that are, sort of public information officers, and their job is to, write up and explain what these different research groups in the university do, and it's not an easy job. You can't just say, "Oh, lasers, I'm gonna be fun and cool and talk about lasers," but you miss the whole point. And it's really, really hard to be able to take some idea and give a layman's explanation in a couple paragraphs. And that's not easy to do, right?
No, it's not at all. And I suspect. So this was hosted by the Planetary Society, and I think it was someone writing for them, not like a university. And so I suspect what it is, it's someone with a background in astronomy, because the astronomy part of it was actually pretty, as far as I could tell, was reasonably good. But then there was this like 2 paragraphs of, oh yeah, they bought this physics thing, and boy, don't these parts have funny names. And I was like, come on.
I know. I mean, why?
I think it may be that even like the people who are doing the research are buying a unit from somebody, and it may, I don't know how well they are able to explain the inner workings of it to the guy writing the press release. So.
But he should be able to understand, hey, what I just wrote doesn't really say anything, so either I should put it in there or I should go find out some other place. I mean, if that's your job, so.
Yeah, should talk to somebody who knows something about optics and get them to explain, what does this actually do?
I mean, and it's, everyone wants a nice title and a nice buzzword, and unfortunately that makes a very good title, using lasers to find planets. I mean, come on, you're not, and it implies to the typical person that you're shooting lasers to find planets.
Yeah, that you're blasting the laser out into space to find.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I resorted to that bit of clickbait myself, right? So that's the headline I used for the post.
Right. Well, no, but in your case, it was more accurate because you're talking about their mistake of using lasers to discover. Yeah. So, I mean, personally, I kind of enjoy pointing out problems, especially if someone writes something that's kind of in my area of expertise and say, well, that's not really true, and here'd be a better way to say it. But if I had to write something about biology, I probably do mess things up like that. So.
Yeah, and I occasionally get taken to task by commenters for making flippant remarks about biology, and I try to avoid doing too much of that, but because there's a point at which it's like I don't actually care about the biology part of this. I care about there's this physics thing related to the biology, and so I'll sort of brush off the bio part of it quickly, and people will yell at me for it. And to some extent, that's what these people were doing. They were kind of brushing off there's this physics thing, but they're using it for astronomy purposes, and isn't the astronomy cool?
But they made the mistake of putting that in the title. Lasers were in the title of the post, so I mean,
yeah, they didn't explain anything about the laser.
But the laser is just kind of like on sharks, so it doesn't really matter. They didn't really, it didn't really match.
Some ill-tempered sea bass.
It's almost the same thing as a shark, right?
It's close. So.
But yeah, I do have that problem. I do a radio show at the university radio, and it just they want to do science, so I'll talk about different things, and I try to do biology stuff and things like that. But there's a good chance that I really mess some things up and cause some people to cringe. But I haven't heard any complaints, so maybe no one's listening. So maybe that's
the other possible explanation. I don't know. We'll see if I get if we get a bunch of angry Twitter comments from computer scientists.
Well, I just want to point out that said that you were being mean to the computer scientists.
I was cheap-shotting the computer scientists.
I agree. Not me.
I like many of them are friends of mine.
My brother has a BS in computer science. So.
Yeah. So what's he do with it? Let's see.
He's a programmer.
Is he a programmer? So.
Yeah.
I mean, Okay, so that was bad. I said that as if as if he's like waiting tables in Los Angeles looking for.
Speaking of programming, though, I think we're in a really nice age where you don't have to go to school even if you want to make iPhone apps. You can do that. You could get a physics degree. You could do anything.
Yeah.
And or not even go to school, which would probably save you a small asteroid made out of money.
So, yeah, depending on what denomination you use.
Well, you got to use ones, just the ones, and then make it into a little asteroid, a casteroid.
Well, yeah. So there's a post for you, right? Because right, smaller bills will end up being more massive, but you kind of what's the biggest bang for the buck? If you were going to make an asteroid out of pick some dollar value that would add up to that could add up to an asteroid. How big would the asteroid be if
Well, I did
pennies versus
pennies. Well, they'd be much more massive. But I did an estimate. Neil deGrasse Tyson said you'd take $4 billion would go to the moon and back if you stack them, and that's wrong. But I calculated how far. It actually go 1/4 of the way to the moon. But then I said, what would happen if you put it all into a ball, and how big would that be? And I don't remember what the answer is, but it's on my website. So.
Yeah. Well, so you can redo that calculation because right, if you did it with pennies, right? I don't know what the relative masses are, but a penny probably isn't 1/5 the weight of a nickel. So
right.
So is it bigger if a given dollar value in pennies or
bigger or more massive too?
Yeah, and then more massive, I guess. And then there's dimes, right, which are lighter than a penny, but so dimes are clearly the worst way to go.
Right. But then you have half dollars and quarters. I don't know which one would be better.
Yeah. So there's a post idea.
Yeah.
So you write it, we'll split the profits.
So 0. I'll divide 0 with you.
Pretty much. So.
Yeah, pretty much exactly.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea, though.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'm writing it down before I forget. So you wanted to talk about the Nobel Prize. I don't know anything about the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, do you have any idea?
All I know is, do you get announcement? You obviously get like press release or hey, I think you should write about this kind of thing, right?
From the Nobel people?
No, from anyone.
From anyone? Oh yeah, I get dozens of things.
Okay.
Science blogs just sold my name to every media outlet.
Well, I don't know where to get it from, but Wolfram Alpha said, hey, you should blog about this. Since 1980, like 8 of the physicists are Mathematica license holders, and I didn't reply, but I mean, pretty much every physics person in a physics department is a Mathematica license holder, right?
Well, they may not personally hold a license, right? They probably have access to Mathematica.
Right. Doesn't mean they use it. But.
Yeah, like a lot of people, we had when I was at NIST, there was a guy who was a theorist who was in the group for a while, who he actually did theory on Mathematica, and some other people made fun of him for that. So, because most of the theorists were doing hand-rolled Fortran code, and doing theory in Mathematica. Like, what is that? Why would you So.
But I mean, it can work if you. It depends on the way you use it. But I think that at that time, a lot of people were developing their own kind of like routines to solve differential equations, and he's just using Mathematica's built-in version or something.
Yeah, because he was doing the kind of thing where setting up the equation is the hard part, and like figuring out what they ought to be was the thing that you needed to do, and actually solving them didn't need it wasn't like a especially difficult set of things to solve.
You could either use Mathematica or students.
And we had, when I was at Yale, one of the grad students did some theory for us. He did it in Excel. It had you had this spreadsheet that did this. It was like this coupled set of equations for a bunch of different wells and a lattice, and it was like minimizing the energy of the system, and it had this whole big spreadsheet in Excel that did all this minimization stuff, which I have no idea how he did it, and some of the numbers that came out of it were just wrong. It turned out later, but that was after I left. And I spent a little while trying to do theory, but I was using MATLAB. That's what they had. MATLAB, the front end on it.
But that was the three big ones in the 90s. It was Maple, Mathematica, and MATLAB, right? Was there another one too?
I think that's it, yeah.
But no one.
Mathematica. There was one subgroup was using Mathematica because it would do. I forget, they needed 60 digits or something, and in one of the quantities they were tracking. To actually do it at a level where you would trust that the results weren't just numerical noise. They needed to track some ludicrous number of digits of the thing that they were. It was like the accumulated phase on some piece of a wave function, and so they had to do it in Mathematica because MATLAB wouldn't do enough digits.
Fortran would.
So, yeah, but none of them were. They were experimentalists dabbling in theory. Right?
I don't mean to for anyone to get an impression that I think Mathematica is not useful. I mean, historically, that's done a lot of great things, and I mean, it's a great package. It's just that I don't. I've said before, I don't have my students use it because it's not free, and when they graduate, I don't want them to be stuck with something that's not free. So, but the Mathematica, what's the Wolfram Alpha? That's pretty cool too, and there's a lot of free stuff on there, so that's pretty useful.
Yeah, that actually works pretty well. When I was doing the sticky tape posts earlier this year, I ended up cranking some systems equations into that to get solutions to things.
You did it in Wolfram Alpha online?
Yeah.
In the free version?
Yeah, because I was doing it from Starbucks. I wasn't on campus where we could access anything expensive.
But I think Wolfram Alpha also has some really cool access to data. I mean, you can say the name Rhett, history of the name Rhett, and it'll show you when that name was popular, which was never, and shows you a graph of how often it was used over time, and it's kind of cool, So.
Does it spike up or down at Gone with the Wind?
I don't remember. I need to check. But I did get mad at my children were watching this show, Good Mythical Morning. It's a YouTube show, and it has Rhett and Link. They're the two guys. And I said, well, you can't watch that because I don't want that Rhett to be popular. I want to be the most popular Rhett. So you're just supporting him. But they watch it anyway. They don't care what I say.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a hard Google row to hoe if you want to be. It's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad.
You got the whole Gone with the Wind thing, but I got a whole country that I share my first name with an entire country. So. But
your last name's good.
Yeah, my last name is Polish for eagle or falcon. It's the big fancy eagle that's on the Polish flag, the old Polish flag, and so that's Orzel in Polish. But it's actually there's a famous submarine that was the Orzel that escaped the Nazis in 1939.
But if you Google Orzel, if you just Google Orzel, do you get you?
I don't think I'm the top result. I think the submarine is. But I'm up there.
I'm gonna check.
It also depends on whether I Google it on Chrome or Firefox. Punch it up on Firefox, see what happens.
I got you as the fourth link is is a post from you.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Oh, and it gets it gets you as a it says you're an associate professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy at Union.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No. Now, what if you search for Chad? Do you think they'll get you?
I don't think I'm on the first page. Let me see.
Now we have to search. So
Yeah. No, I'm not on the first page.
if you search for Rhett, the first link is Rhett and link, and then 1, 2. I'm 4, but I think it's sort of biased towards my own search results. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can.
no, if I hate to tell you this, but if I search it on a browser that I'm not logged into,
Right.
you're not on the first page.
I'm a loser. Ah, this is
A
terrible.
lot of Rhett and Link and Rhett Butler.
I'm on page 3. I still don't see me. This is bad. This is really bad. Oh, I'm on the 3rd page. I'm on the 3rd page.
That's good.
Oh.
Yeah, Rhett Miller from the old 97s.
Yeah.
So. But
Well, that's not too bad. 3rd page with just my first name. I'm okay. I'm happy. 2nd page would be better.
Yeah. I don't want to know how many pages I have to go through of Chad to not be the country. Probably quite a few.
Yeah, I think it'd take a while.
And then there's Chad Johnson from the NFL. So I'm totally good.
Good thing your name's not Chad Smith. I mean, they're right.
Yeah, there is in one of the like Web of Science database, searching just Orzel C does turn up somebody else. There's like a cardiologist or something. I don't know what the guy's actual name is, but there are medical papers that turn up in one of the science search engines, which I don't use any. I don't use any of those anymore because there's the Astrophysics Data Service from Harvard Smithsonian that is free and works for physics and astronomy stuff. So and it has citation statistics, so I can.
Where is this at?
It's I always search. It's ADS ABS.
ABS or okay.
It's Astrophysical Data Service, and they have like abstracts or something. Okay. But you can pull up, and huge numbers of physics papers will show up in that, and you can, you can get citation statistics and links to the archive versions if they exist, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. If I feel the need to vanity search on my academic publications, that's what I do.
And for me, that'd be both of them. I'm just busy. So busy blogging. Well,
So you were in particle physics, right? Were you part of a collaboration that got your name near the front of?
I didn't on any papers.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. No, I mean I didn't really do much. I was a Fortran programmer. So
yeah.
They don't count those people.
So you weren't like you have a CERN ID that I saw.
Yeah, I do have my CERN ID
on your Twitter, but.
I'm probably supposed to return this, but.
Yeah, the statute of limitations lapsed on that.
What are they gonna do? Come get me? Look, I still have your ID. I
Come
can
all
go
the way
in all the doors. It just zip it in.
Yeah. So when is that from?
This is from 1993.
So. Yeah, I still have a NIST ID of about that vintage somewhere. I don't know.
But you still have hair.
True. But,
my glasses are smaller, so.
Yeah. So yeah, I had suggested I'd said something about the Nobels. I don't know. Do you have any ideas what would win?
I already brought up my idea of the people that hold Mathematica licenses.
Yeah. So
I haven't looked at anything. I haven't looked.
So I was looking at, I got this press release from Thomson, right? Every year they do their official prediction of what's going to win, and they have like 3 or 4 people, And it caught my eye a couple of years ago because one of them was one of my undergrad professors was listed as in one of the possible combinations. And of course, he didn't win. But that isn't in this year's set of predictions. And so, if your analysis of cited publications and importance of papers and impact and whatnot, if that throws up one thing as as Nobel worthy, how is it not the same list every year? Minus the guys who just won.
Or he could have got bumped. New people came in and bumped him down.
Yeah, but it's like they're all in a completely different subfield. It's like they've decided that some particular what it looks like is they've decided that it's going to be a condensed matter sort of prize this year. And
they have a dice. They roll the dice. Oh, condensed matter this year.
Is there a rule? I don't it's an even numbered year. It has to be
year of the dog.
So. Every year I root for some combination of Alain Aspect, Anton Zeilinger, John Clauser, people like that for the really cool quantum stuff for Bell inequality experiments and that sort of thing, demonstrating entanglement. Because I think that stuff's awesome, and it would be nice to have it win and be high profile.
Then it'll be real. Once you win the Nobel Prize, that's it. It's real. It's in the books, right?
It just got real. So. Yeah, but I have no idea what any of that what it would be. So I have in the past done a contest on the blog. Ask people to, if you guess some laureates, and if you win, I'll write a blog post about a topic of your choosing. But last year, I announced the winner of that, and immediately got email from the previous year's winner, reminding me that I hadn't actually written the blog post that I promised him I would write.
What was the blog post on?
So I don't even remember now.
Maybe that's why you didn't write it.
Yeah, so maybe it's time to retire that contest.
Yeah. Don't promise what you can't do. Right?
Because I can't guarantee I'm going to have time.
That's true. I mean, you're a busy guy, so.
Yeah.
I just sit around and do nothing.
No, you much more consistently turn out physics things than I do. So.
Yeah, but you blog more. I mean, you're probably 4 posts a week or something, right? Maybe more.
Yeah, probably. Some of them are pretty frivolous.
Yeah, well, still. I usually do 2 or 3, rarely more than that. Usually I'm more around 2 a week.
Yeah, I think your average level of effort per post is probably higher than mine. So.
Well, I have a backlog of things.
You make those high-quality graphics that you do with the stick figures and the.
That takes practice.
Did Apple? Has anyone from Apple contacted you to offer you an iPhone and some skinny jeans?
No, but if they do, I'm going to wear them. That's for sure. I don't. Sometimes I will get someone contact me about things like that if I complain about it, but I don't think Apple does that. They don't. Apple doesn't care.
No,
they don't care about.
They don't.
It. But if it's some physics thing. If it was Vernier or Pasco or something like that, I think I could get something. But
yeah, I haven't. I don't know if I get books somewhat regularly. I get
like Eureka. I got that twice.
Yeah, well, give a copy to somebody else.
I did.
Yeah, I just got into. Partway through Caleb Scharf's new book. But
how did you get Sean Carroll to write a review of the book?
He's blurbed all 3 of mine, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I emailed him and asked a bunch of questions at some point, and we've exchanged emails various times. We've both been blogging forever. So
Yeah.
So yeah, he and Jennifer, I've known from blog stuff for ages.
Yeah.
So I got the first one. I got Cory Doctorow blurbed it. That was really nice. Cory Doctorow is the whole reason I have a publishing career. So
he kind of owed you.
Well, no, I majorly owe him, but
okay.
The first Talking to the Dog book happened because he linked from Boing Boing a post I wrote about talking with the dog about the many worlds interpretation, and 50,000 people read it. One of them was an agent who contacted me, and so it's because of that link that I ended up getting the opportunity to do this. So
that's pretty good.
Which is pretty awesome. But
okay, well, I will probably say at this point, hey, we need to find someone to have as a guest on, and then we'll say, yeah, that's a great idea.
Great idea. Then not do anything.
Wednesday, like, hey, we never found someone to be on, and then let's just go ahead anyway without anyone. That's probably what's going to happen. So
So maybe we should plan in advance what academic discipline we're going to badmouth next week.
Hey, we could have an angry computer scientist come on and say bad things about physics.
Well, we'll see if any of them actually watch this. Complain to us, and then we can have one of them on.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a possibility.
We'll see.
We can make fun of chemists next week. Oh, you're in a department with chemists.
Right. My brother's a biochemist.
Yeah, and they have stuff that'll mess you up. So
and my brother, he was at Appalachian State University, and they have a fermentation science program. So he made beer and wine. So I'm not gonna
fermentation science. So is that a major or?
I don't know. They make beer in the labs, and I want to. So.
That could be a popular course.
Yeah, oh yeah. He said it used to be really popular until they increased the prereqs for it, because otherwise, we're gonna make beer. We're taking this class, So.
Yeah. I don't know. What's the time scale for that? So.
To make beer.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I don't know. I've never actually.
I just drink it.
Never actually gotten into that.
It's too much work.
So
too messy.
Yeah, there's a liquor store down the street.
Right.
But actually, I go to the one that has a bigger selection, but
the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah, the grocery store. The grocery stores are okay.
Yeah, they do okay.
Not
we
great.
have a place that just sells beer and wine, and it's like a beer and wine store plus a small bar. It's a pretty cool place. They have all sorts of beer, and you can drink beer there too. So that's a nice place.
Yeah, it's not. So Louisiana can't be really tightly regulated there. It's not like New York. You can sell beer and wine in grocery stores, but not anything harder. And actually, I don't know if you can do wine.
I think the rule here is, and I always forget, and it depends on where you are in the state, but you can't buy alcohol or wine before 12 on Sunday.
Yeah. So my all-time favorite cynical piece of legislation is when I was in college. My first 3 years in college, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday in Massachusetts, but we were 5 miles from the Vermont border, and you could buy alcohol on Sunday in Vermont. So if people wanted some beers to watch football on Sunday afternoon, you would just drive to Vermont, buy beer there, and drive back. So my senior year, the Massachusetts legislature changed the law to legalize liquor sales on Sunday in towns that were within 15 miles of the border to a state where liquor sales were legal on Sunday. because they realized that they were losing all this tax revenue because people were driving across the border into Vermont and buying beer. When if they just let them buy beer in Williamstown, then they would get that extra 3 cents per can, and so I was like, yeah, that's a deeply principled piece of legislation right there. We are opposed to liquor sales on Sunday
unless we can get money.
Make money off it. So.
Okay, well maybe that's a good place to end.
That's probably a good place to end. Go have a beer.
Yeah,
I gotta go take Steely Kid to soccer. So.
Yep, I got the double whammy soccer gymnastics tonight, so I got you beat.
So, sequentially or at the same time?
Same time. Actually, I have two girls in gymnastics at the same time. I have 2 boys in soccer at different fields across town. So I drop off one early. I go to the other soccer and stay with the other kid, and then I go back and pick up the other kid, and then I go pick up from gymnastics.
Yeah, see, your older kids are old enough that you can do that.
Yeah.
Steely Kid's still at the point where there's a.
Even my younger kid, I could leave him because I know the parents. I can say I'm just going to leave, so I don't mind leaving him.
Still got about a 25% chance that there's crying.
No one. There may be crying, but it's going to be. They cry when they get hurt. I mean, my younger one does, but it's not a big deal. You can cry.
Yeah, it's still at the level where mommy or daddy needs to.
Yeah.
Needs to acknowledge that. Yes, that boy kicked you in the shin, and that looked like it hurt. And you're okay now. Go do a thing. So.
Okay, well, have fun at soccer.
All right, you too, and gymnastics.
Yeah.
So, till next time.